Hi guys, Squishy Bee here. Today is April 8th, 2022, and I'd like to just give you a bit of a heads up on a new law that's been passed in Colorado. It says Colorado governor signs House Bill 22-1279, which codifies a right to abortion that is more extreme than Roe Vs Wade. We've been informing you that innocent human life is increasingly under attack in pro-abortion states. Colorado is one such state. On April 4th, 2022, Governor Polis signed into law a bill that makes abortion a super fundamental right in Colorado. Prior to Governor Polis signing the bill, the ACLJ sent a letter to the governor opposing the radical pro-abortion bill and requesting his veto. We also detailed how the bill could severely impact the constitutional rights and freedoms of Colorado's citizens. Despite vehement opposition to the bill on the part of the ACLJ, pro-life legislators, and other pro-life organizations, it is unsurprising that Governor Polis ignored the opposition and signed the bill. As the authors of the bill point out, Colorado was the first state to decriminalize abortion care in an overwhelmingly bipartisan effort in 1967. Well, before the Supreme Court affirmed the right to abortion care nationwide in Roe vs. Wade. And as we pointed out in our letter, abortion has been largely unrestricted in Colorado. But for pro-abortion advocates, mostly unrestricted access to abortion wasn't enough. Not only has Roe now been codified in Colorado, it has been expanded by allowing unfettered access to abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy and for any reason whatsoever. Furthermore, abortion has been declared a fundamental right that cannot be restricted in any way by any public entity in Colorado. I'm just going to skip down to this one part here where I think it's really relevant to how this is going to also affect people working in the medical care field. Because this is, obviously this is a horrific situation for babies, but it's also a horrible situation for young ladies that don't really know yet what they're doing. There are so many people that have had abortions at a young age that then go on to be traumatized and regret it for the rest of their life. And there is no going back and undoing it. And while God forgives you if you are sorrowful for what you've done and repent, but nonetheless, it's very hard to forgive yourself of such a thing. And one day you are going to, if you are saved, going to see that child again in heaven and have to face them. And it's something that people are being rushed into because it's a money-making and a very satanic system. I've got to tell you. There's a lot of underground satanic ritual stuff going on in this industry. And they don't hide it at all. So, but just a lot of people don't seem to dig enough into this to see it. So, but what this also is going to affect is how people are working in the field that are going to be forced to do this sort of thing. So let me just read this other part here because this might explain it a little bit better. Moreover, the purposefully broad language is especially concerning with regard to healthcare providers and workers who are religiously or morally opposed to abortion and who serve in public hospitals. Unlike abortion, the freedom of conscience is among the most fundamental of unalienable rights and should not be discarded in favor of an abortion-on-demand regime. I like that word, regime, because that's very, suiting. Now that this bill has been signed into law, there will undoubtedly be instances where the true God-given fundamental rights, as guaranteed and protected by the U.S. Constitution, of those who are morally opposed to abortion will be in direct conflict with Colorado's new radical abortion law. So for those who have spent their whole life going through the very difficult schooling to become a nurse or to become a doctor or what have you in the medical field are now going to have to choose to have to give up their entire career because they're not going to want to go against their religious beliefs or moral beliefs, because they're going to be forced to do this, whether they like it or not, or be fired, because this is going to supersede and overrule the rights that were given in the Constitution, which at this point you might as well just wring out and throw it in the garbage, because there is very little that I can see being followed for the Constitution anymore. It's a farce. This country has become so satanic and overrun by demons that literally, and I do mean that literally, there is a very huge plague of demons going on that are running things, and that's what we're beginning to see. And that's just going to get worse and worse as you get closer to the tribulation, because the tribulation is going to be all demons running things. It's going to be an army of Satan that'll be going from country to country, like a 200 million man army, wiping people out and then taking over. If you think it's bad now with what we're seeing in Christian persecution, what do you think it's going to be during tribulation without us here to hold that back? Because we're being, they're being restrained right now while we're here. The church is just in the way. And once we're removed, then literally all hell is going to break loose on this earth. And we're seeing this sort of thing daily. More and more evil stuff like this is coming out every day. And these laws are going to just continue to be passed. More and more laws that promote evil things like this, and laws that promote like the hypersexualization of children, because that's what things are really about, that you're seeing with, like, I like how Dr. Jean puts it, the alphabet soup people. What you're seeing going on with Disney and everything. People are just starting to see the way the Bible says that what is done in secret will come to light. Well, that's what you're seeing. I've known about Disney for years and years and years, as a lot of people that have dealt with satanic stuff know. But now, everyday normal people are just starting to see what's going on. And I think even lost people are starting to look at it a little bit and be like, this is kind of strange what's going on here. But what it really comes down to is what it's always been about. Number one, destroying the family and God's image of man. That's another biggie, because that's been Satan's plan from the beginning. He's always wanted to make his own race of people, and he's hated us and wanted to destroy God's view of what he wanted for us. And what better way to do that than to destroy the family, for one, because everything starts there. And the children. You take over the children, the most innocent of the civilization, and get them while they're young, and that you can do anything with them. Let's just put it that way. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie with Jet Li, where he was treated like a dog, and they would chain him up, and then they trained him to go and fight, and then they would put him back on his chain, and it would be a trigger that they did, and he would just snap to it and instantly go and just attack. Well, that whole thing is based on something that is really done all over the world in real life. That's something that I've seen with my own eyes. That where they train people to do things. So they split them into various personalities, and then they train different personalities to do different things. And it's done through abuse and very satanic, horrible stuff. And part of it is all about children. I can't say the stuff on here without getting banned, but the stuff that Disney is involved in, where it's really about making children appear older, if you know what I mean. They want people to look at children on a level of adults, because that makes it easier for them to accept the next stage of the alphabet soup, which is to normalize, how do I word this? Oh man, without getting banned, but relationships with youngins. They want to make that normalized and accepted and legal. And it's a very satanic thing. And they're doing this in so many different ways, little by little, and people don't notice. It's the frog in the pot thing. And if you don't watch and pay attention to what your kids are watching, they're going to be getting this stuff put into their minds, and it's going to make them want it to behave a lot more mature than they should be. And then on top of that, they're putting things like hormones into milk and different things where they're causing them to mature earlier on purpose. They have been, even though people are shocked by Disney, this has been going on since way longer than anyone realizes. Like as in Sesame Street and Romper Room, things like that, where they were using the TV as a massive form of mind control. And so there's just so much stuff going on that people really are just starting to kind of see. But it's going to be really hard to find information on this stuff because of the censorship. You won't be able to find a lot of this if you try to search it, because Google is so big time censoring. You can't find anything anymore. It was always bad, but it's really bad right now. You can't search anything and find it on there, because they remove it all and they put on there what they want you to see. So, but anyway, I wanted to share this because people need to be aware of the laws that are getting passed while people are distracted by other things. And they sneak in this stuff while people are watching the Ukraine-Russia war and stuff. That's what they do. And it's something that people need to educate their girls on with this stuff. Make sure that they understand that the whole system of abortion is based on lies, and that they tell people that, oh well, they're not really, they can't feel pain, and they're not really a human being until they get to a certain stage and in development and stuff like that. And for one, that's just not true. We're finding out more and more scientifically that that's not true. But obviously, they're doing this up until full term now, which is no different than what they did back in the days when they were they were sacrificing babies to the fire and, dancing and playing music and stuff so that you didn't hear the screams. There is no difference. There's no difference in God's eyes. There's no difference in my eyes. It's the same thing. You're murdering a fully grown baby. And the fact that people are accepting this as okay should tell you a lot about Bible prophecy. because obviously this is one of the prime examples of when God said that in the last days that good will be seen as bad and bad will be seen as good, and that the love of many will grow cold because of the way that so much evil and lawlessness will abound. And that's what we're seeing. So anyway, I just wanted to come on and give you this quick update. I just came across this as I was waiting for my cinnamon bun rolls to the dough to rise. And I'm still working on this week's prayer video in between baking and stuff. So I will be back with that as soon as I can here. Please pray for these children. Please pray for the young girls being manipulated into abortion, because there is so much psychological stuff being done to get these girls to not only to do this, but quick. You got to do it quick before they have the chance to think about it. And they lie to a lot of people. I mean, there were even people getting abortions on girls that weren't even pregnant just to get the money. So there's so much greed behind this, but Satan is what's really behind it. And the best thing you can do is homeschool your children, get them out of the school systems, get them into some sort of really good Christian homeschooling program, I think it's a Becca is the one that I know pretty well that a family member is using that we absolutely love. And I would, if you can at all, keep your kids at home. Don't even put them in these especially chain daycare systems, because they're starting at that age. They're starting at the age of 2 in psychological warfare. And then they're teaching them, for the fact that they're actually pushing to teach these kids about sex at such a young age as kindergarten. Well, they're doing it, they're openly saying pre-K. And I've seen this with my own eyes in a very popular chain. I've witnessed some really underhanded psychological stuff going on, where they were dressing like little boys in princess dresses, and if they didn't like it, they were punished if they didn't go along with it, and if they did do it, they made a huge to-do and reward system for the ones that did go along with it. So it's little mind games that they're playing, and these kids are very vulnerable at that age and easy to guide in whichever direction somebody's going to send them. Whether that's you or whether that's a stranger in charge of your child is what remains to be seen. And I realize that people are struggling with money and it's hard to do that, but it's worth it to figure it out somehow. If these days it's a lot easier to make an income from home online, do it. Figure it out. Work it out. God will help you work it out. It's just not worth it to send your kids to these indoctrination stations. You can do it online from home. It's almost just like a classroom, and they're learning. They're way more advanced in actual schoolwork that they need to learn, because they're not getting dumbed down with Common Core. And then they're also teaching them proper morals and Christian values, rather than the kind of garbage that that's being forced down their throat in public school. So I highly recommend that. And then try to do all you can to install Christian values, because everywhere else is trying to do the exact opposite. And whoever spends more time with your child, that's who's going to win. It just comes down to whoever has more time with them. Or you have to do a tremendous amount of work and effort in the amount of time that you do have them to undo everything that's being done in the many hours that they're spending with these other people that are, they're very good at what they're doing. They're very good at it. And so if you want to keep them out of getting in this situation where they're needing an abortion sort of thing, then you've got to educate them really well so that they know. And they have to feel comfortable coming to you. If they don't feel like they can come and talk to you, then, because like say you flip out over every little thing, then they're going to go to somebody else, and that person is not necessarily going to be telling them the advice you want them to have. So my advice is to just make sure that you have very good open communication that's fair, and that they can feel like they can come to you. And if they're honest with you, reward the crap out of them. If your child is honest with you, that is priority. Make sure that you make a big to-do of that, because that is so important. Because otherwise, if they feel like they can't come to you, they're going to end up in a place like this. If they get pregnant, they're going to end up where they're going to be going to these places, and they're going to tell them that this is their only option. And they make them feel that they have to do it quick. For lots of different reasons that they manipulate them. And so they don't have any chance to discuss with anyone else. And then you have laws where they're not going to be forced to tell the parents that they've been there. They could just go do whatever they want. And again, that's part of the whole system of making them appear to be adults when they're children. That's all part of the whole system to get them to look more mature than they are. And there's a very evil reason behind that. So, guard your children. Lots of prayers for other people's children, please. Because whether you have kids or not, there are other children out there that are being murdered and on the daily. And then other young teenagers' lives being ruined over this. And they will never be the same. They may think that they know what they're doing right now, but 10 years, 20 years down the road, when they grow up and maybe do get saved, and they realize, and that those blinders are removed, and they have the Holy Spirit, and they look back, they cannot go back and fix that. So, anyway, God bless you. I hope that everyone is doing well. It's so nice out here today. I wish I could get outside and get some stuff done, but I got so much inside stuff to do. But anyway, I will be back again, and until then, guys, I love you. God bless you. Stay safe out there, and I'll be seeing you. Bye-bye.